dive in and talk about sellers. I have a question. If you guys can either chime in or put it in the chat, how many of you guys have been on listing appointments, have listings, or are we just like fresh out of the gate? Let me go to the chat in case you all want to put it there, but I'd love a little feedback. So I know who the audience is, so we can talk a little bit. How deep do you want to go with sellers? We could talk all day.
I'm fresh out of the gate.
Out of the gate? Okay, I love it. I love it. So, oh, Shelly, you listed a house last week. Congrats. So just so you know a little bit about our team, there's 8 of us, and I actually run the listing side. Years ago, I had a business partner, and through coaching, we discovered that my skill set lied with sellers. So that's where I spend my days, my time. I show property when the team needs it, but other than that, they blow way past me in showing property anymore. My lane is listings. So if you're on a team, we encourage that everybody has a strength role. And if you're a single agent, I would encourage you at some point to build out, find your strength lane, because you can be so much stronger in it. Okay, so let's see. 1 listing, but it was a close friend, otherwise fresh out of the gate. Very new, no listings yet. Brand new, working with 3 buyers and a possible listing. I'm brand new. Okay, awesome. Lots of experience to see how your awesome team does it. Oh, thanks, Maggie. So, let's start. I'm going to overlap with Justin just a little bit from last week. We get asked a lot, where in the world do all the listings come from? We tend to list quite a few properties. Believe me, we always want more, right? Doesn't everybody? So where do you find listings? Those of you that have had a few, if you want to throw it in the chat. But I think that's always, where the heck am I?
Y'all got egg sandwiches downstairs. But
so if you're looking, where are they going to be? Guys, here's what I'm going to tell you. You can call FSBOs, you can call expireds, and we do that a little bit, but we're doing that less and less. So basically where we're finding our listings is in our database. So I don't know how much you guys are in tune to KWRI, but Gary Keller is telling us that 1 of every 4 people you know are looking at real estate right now. What? 1 of every 4 people that you know. So think about that. You got to go find them. That's 25% of everybody you know has their toes into real estate and is thinking about moving or selling or both. So of those 25%, 40% are super serious right now. So we're changing what we're doing a little bit. And my MAPS coach has been beating on us for about a year and literally pounding on our heads. Stay in your database. Stay with people that know you. It doesn't mean that we don't meet strangers. We have a internet platform that brings in leads, but they're already warmed up. They already feel like they know us. So I'm going to encourage you to stay with people you know. And it's kind of crazy. If you set a goal, if you were to write on your bathroom mirror, this week I'm going to get 3 listings, and you put that up in your office, you had it everywhere. It's in your car, it's on your mirror. Do you realize that your brain would go to work to find 3 listings for the week? It's crazy. You would be talking to everybody you know. Listen, by the way, I want to help 3 families this week. Do you know somebody that might be looking to buy or sell? And we've changed that script to just say list. So when we want just listings, we change that script instead of buy or sell. So Shelly, will you play with me for a minute? Guys, I love to role play. Shelly, can I put you on the spot?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I know Shelly. So if Shelly wasn't a realtor, I'd be calling Shelly and asking in a care call, asking how you're doing in this crazy pandemic climate of a world we live in. Shelly and I would have some small talk about that, and then I would turn it. First of all, I'd say, and what can I do for you today? Because guys, here's the thing. If you can't give value and you can't come from contribution, people sniff it out, especially in these times, and they don't want anything to do with you. So you have to always come from contribution. And we do that. We provide resources. Hey, how can I help you? What can we do? We're right now on a hunt to find families to give back, to sponsor for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that's part of the calls that we're doing. And in those care calls, and then I turn it and say, listen, Shelly, before I let you go, could I ask you a favor? Or can I get your help? And of course, if I say I need your help or a favor, what's Shelly going to say? She's going to say, sure, yes, right? So listen, that's an embedded command from Bold. It tells the brain to listen. So listen, Shelly, we're trying to help 3 families this week get their homes listed and tell them what the value of their homes are. Who do you know that might be thinking about selling? And then I'm really quiet. I'm a high I, high D, and we'll talk about the disc here in just a little bit. So, and when we have high I's, and I would imagine most of you are in real estate, you got some kind of I, the majority of you. Has everybody had a disc assessment done? If you haven't, go to KW office and tell them you want a disc assessment done. But if you're a high I, you want to fill the space. Okay. Our role and the best agents, guys, I zip my mouth when I ask that question and I make them squirm. And I'm quiet for a minute. Let them answer. We're going to talk about this more and more. Whoever answers first loses. You lose something. And that's also the way of the listing appointment. Okay. So when I'm on that phone call, let's go back to that. So Shelly, I'd love to get your help with something. Can I ask you for a favor? Will you play with me, Shelly?
Oh yeah, of course. Anything.
Awesome. Well, so listen, our team is trying to help 3 families determine the value of their homes and ultimately list their homes because it's such a hot market. Let me ask you a question, Shelly. Do you know anybody that might be thinking about selling their home?
You know, I'm not sure.
Okay. I was thinking maybe if you know someone at church, maybe from your son's soccer team.
You know, I have to give it some thought. I don't know. I heard a friend talking the other day. They're expecting a baby and they're making, I don't know, they're talking about maybe wanting to look for a house. I'm not sure.
Awesome.
I don't really know.
Well, we would love the opportunity to Shelly. And listen, I would promise to you, we would take amazing care of them. We love working with folks like you. So I'm sure your friends are just amazing as you are. So, and I promise you we take good care of them and we'll keep you updated along the way.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's guys, it's as easy as that. And then it's in the follow through, right? So here's the thing. Last year, probably about February, March, I was out for about 3 months. I had emergency surgery. It was crazy. And I came back to work and I had to kind of start part of my business in the business all over again. Okay. And I remember saying listings are so hard to find. They're hard to find. So what you say, your cells are listening. Your brain cells are listening. If you say listings are hard to find, they're going to be hard to find. If you say this week, I'm going to find 3 listings, you'll find it if you believe it. So it starts with mindset. I know that sounds crazy to talk about listings, but it really does start with mindset, guys. So first of all, change the way that you look at it, change the way that you're waking up, and change the fact that listings are hard to find. No, they're not. They're in abundance everywhere. People are ready to sell their houses. So, but you got to know what you're talking about because you may be competing. And here's the crazy thing. We think there's less listings. Guys, listings are not that down. We have more buyers that are on the market and we have less properties that are staying on the market. About 8 weeks ago, we had the same number of listings that we did last year to date. But doesn't it feel like there's less listings? If you're actively in the market, it feels that way. If you're working with a buyer, it feels that way. It's because we have 4 times the buyers than we do in a normal market. And who wants normal, right? Have you guys experienced this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's okay. Y'all can come off mute and talk. It's fine. It's fine.
Hey, Denise, I do have a question for you.
Sure.
So when we were role playing and I was like, yeah, I don't really know I don't know. I hear that all the time. So
Sure.
Good. I was hoping you would say, well, let me tell you something. And then what is a good response for people who just don't know or won't give it any thought on the spot?
Well, first of all, I think the first key is this, right? Keep this quiet and let them think. Give them thinking time on the phone. And it feels uncomfortable because they're thinking, but it's natural. right? So don't fill the space and don't hurry up that process. So you notice I prompted you, hey, what about your son's soccer team? Anybody from church? If you're calling people you kind of know their circles. And a good fallback, if you're not sure and you don't know them super great, is, hey, what about anybody in your neighborhood? So, and give that, when you ask that question, that second layer, like go deeper, give it a minute. Like I gave you a minute to think, right? Did that feel awkward when I didn't say anything for a few minutes?
Oh yeah, totally awkward, especially since we're both high eyes, because you
Yeah.
know we want to just do this right away. So
Right.
for sure.
It does feel awkward because we're high eyes and we fill the space, right? However, when you don't fill the space and you're very purposeful with the questions, it will become natural and it'll feel natural to the people on the other side. And they will want to fill the space, right? We have to fight hard not to fill the space. So I think that's the key, is to go deeper, Shelley, to ask, hey, is there anybody in your neighborhood you might know? And listen, we don't want to wear them out. Take them one or two deep and then say, well, listen, here's how I end that conversation if they don't give me someone. After I say, hey, we'll take great care of them. So listen, I'd appreciate if you just keep us in mind. Now that we had this conversation, your antennas are going to probably go up and you'll probably run into somebody. If you don't mind, just send them our way, or better yet, talk to us and we'd be happy to call them. So it's as easy as that. And then circle back. So we're actually doing a little bit of a push right now, because you guys know today is what, November 2nd? We're selling now for 2021. Is that crazy or what? We're already selling 2021. We're about to wrap up 2020. So what we're doing is a push, and Shelley, in our care calls and everybody else on here, as soon as we get off the phone with somebody, we're sending everybody a note card. Okay. Gary has been preaching since we went into shutdown and COVID, take mind share, right? Take mind share first of the people that know you or that are in your sphere. Take the mind share till you go top of mind. That phone call that you make will send you top of mind, and they'll start thinking about you. Oh, Shelley's in real estate, right? I need to think about her. Oh, she's asked me for a favor. I need to think about that. So take as much mind share as you can. Yes, you want the lead right on the phone, but don't forget that you're also planting a garden of seeds that will pop up, but it's all in your follow-up and your follow-through. If you don't talk to those people for another 6 to 8 months, well, then you might have lost some opportunity. So communicating with who you know and communicating with them regularly is going to be a theme of what we're going to talk about as far as finding the listings. So, but going back to those stats, 1 of every 4 people is looking at real estate right now. And 40% of that 25% are super serious. So and if you're newer in real estate, don't be a special agent. Don't be a secret agent, right? They may not use you until you have a little success, but they're watching you. So communicate with them often. Let them see your successes, whether it's through social media, through emails, throwing them a text. If you have a buyer looking for something, what a great way to communicate. That is the beginning of communicating, especially on social media and other places, to say, hey, I'm looking for a house. It's 3-bedroom, 2 baths in St. Matthews. Does anybody know of something that's coming up? Wouldn't that be a great way to get leads? Have you guys done that? Oh, wait. Has anybody done that? Yes. Awesome, Meredith. So that's the beginning of, oh gosh, where are they? They're everywhere. People are thinking of selling their homes because the market has been so hot for a while. Okay. We are going to move to, I want you to start to know the market and know some statistics, because if you're newer, you don't want to sound like you're brand new. Well, I'm not sure about that. You want to know the market so no one says, hey, how new to real estate are you? No one will ever ask you that if you know the market. No one will ever, I think every now and then I get somebody that is interviewing agents, and they want to know how many units you sell in a month or in a year. That's rare, guys. That doesn't come up very often. If you know the market, they know and they trust you. So I would dig into stats, and until you have your own stats, use Keller Williams. And we're going to talk about that. I'm going to share a PowerPoint that we did. We do a sellers workshop. We launched our first one in 2020. It was super successful. We had people that attended from Illinois, Lexington, Bowling Green. They were in different areas, and they attended our sellers workshop about how to be a seller and an effective seller. So I'm going to share that with you, which is part of what we say in a listing presentation. So questions about any of this? So
Denise? Uh-oh, I think she froze. Hey everybody, thanks for your patience. Be tight. I'm calling her on the phone. Isn't technology great? All right, she's hopping off and back on, and hopefully taking care of that glitch. So if anybody needs to up their coffee, now's a good time. Or your tea or whatever.
is everybody there? Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
I told some of them, I told them this would be a good time to go grab some more coffee.
I mean, right? In the middle of talking away, and Zoom just kicked me right off. That was crazy. So, I don't know what happened.
The last thing we heard was, do you have any questions?
Yeah, do you guys have any questions about any of it?
And they just thought you were doing your pause.
No.
Pause for effect. That's like the greatest pause ever, right? That's funny. So anyway, so do you want to role play that a little bit? How many of you guys could go call some people you know? And I think the number one thing that stops us from calling people is we don't know what to say. And we don't want to be salesy, right? Oh, they're going to know I'm calling to ask for business. So that's where can I come from contribution, and how can I come from contribution? Do you guys want me to spend a few minutes and give you some different scripts about how you could call people? Would that be helpful?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right, let's talk about this. So, like I said, do a care call. Hey, I'm just calling to see how you guys are weathering this crazy climate that we're in. Is everybody okay? And spend a few minutes just reconnecting. Guys, even if it's people you haven't talked to in a couple of years, they will appreciate the phone call, okay? Whenever we turn it to business, it's at the end, and it's oh, by the way. Now, care calls take a little bit longer, especially if you haven't talked to them in a minute. And if you're really going to listen to what they say, they probably have some crazy ish going on in their life, right? So these calls aren't 2 minutes and you're off the phone. You have to be vested, right? And you have to get vested. But it's all about relationships. And as we come through the climate that we're in, it's all going to be about relationship selling. So it's time to go back to the relationships you have or have started, build them, retouch them, and reconnect with them. So number one, it's a care call. How the heck are you? Go ahead.
So I have a question. So
Sure.
like if I'm new, and I know there's a lot of new people here today, they don't even know I'm in the business. So I'm just curious, like for our first time, because that's like, I'm so
Sure.
not scared to talk to people, but right now I just want them to know what I'm doing. I'm like, I want you to
I
know
love
I've got
it.
a new thing. So like, can you give us a sample of how,
Yes.
if you were a new agent today, knowing all you
Yeah.
already know, how you would come forth in that first call?
Well, and I love it. Abby just started on our team. She is 30 days this week, right? Her first week, we're like, okay, let's start to make a list of everybody you know, and now you're going to call them. She's like, what? And we're like, yes, you're going to call everybody you know. So we made a script for it. It goes something like this. So of course we want you to do that care call. So listen, I was thinking about you today. Tell me your name. It doesn't show me on the bottom. Bobby. So listen, Bobby, I was just thinking about you today and I wanted to reach out. How are you? How's the family?
Yeah, doing great.
Right. So take that into personal and reconnect. Right.
Okay.
So listen, and sometimes you can say, hey, there's two things I want to chat with you about. First of all, I want to check in and see how you guys are doing. Okay. So
Okay.
that way you're able to turn that conversation when you feel like you've connected a little bit, spend a few minutes with them. Okay. And then
Okay.
turn. So listen, before I forget, the second reason I'm calling sounds very natural, doesn't it? No, I
Mhm.
planned it all along, right?
Right.
So listen, the second reason, and listen is an embedded command. It tells the brain to listen to you. Okay. So listen, second reason before I forget why I'm calling, Bobby, I've done the craziest thing in the middle of this crazy world. You ready?
Yes.
I got a real estate license.
Awesome.
What do you think about that?
That's incredible.
Like
That's
I'm going,
fucking crazy.
Yeah. yeah. So while I got you on the phone, I have a question.
Sure.
I wanted to also ask you for some help. Are you up for that, Bobby?
Sure.
Okay. If you come across somebody, I'm trying to help 15 families by the end of the year achieve their real estate dreams. So if you come across somebody that is thinking or looking at doing real estate, could I count on you to give my number out?
Sure.
Yeah, I promise you, Bobby, I take great care of them. I'll keep you updated every step of the way. But it would be an honor to take care of somebody that you know, because you know how I feel about you. Could you have that conversation?
Yes.
Yeah. So does that sound like an easy conversation or a hard conversation for you guys?
What I like is you're telling them up front, you're going to switch the pitch. And I think that's a really important thing for
Yeah.
me. I don't want it to feel like a fake call, because that's what
Correct.
I've,
That's what everybody
right.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all of it.
Thank
Right?
you.
Because we want to be genuine. And guys, you have to be genuine and you have to care when you call them, right? But you're calling with purpose and there's nothing wrong with that. So I say this about 6 times a week to our team. It's not manipulation if you come from contribution. If you're a high I, you have a superpower, guys. You can persuade and influence and get people to do what you want. Use your power for good. I'm serious, right? It's not manipulation if you come from contribution. So stay in that contribution lane and always put their needs first. And I promise you, your needs will be taken care of. God will always take care of you all. So there's so many different reasons. Like I'm new. Like, what am I going to say? What we just went through with Bobby. Do you guys want me to walk through that again? So you hear it again, or did everybody kind of get that the first time?
Again.
Okay,
Yeah.
Claire, you want to do it with me?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So we'll just have a conversation. So Claire, I was thinking about you today and I wanted to reach out. How the heck are you?
Oh yeah. I'm doing good. Just staying home with my kids right now, trying to pass the time.
Awesome. So tell me what's been happening with the family, friends. Is everybody safe?
Yeah, everyone's doing good. We're just trying to, stay home as much as possible, and
Yeah.
not
Everybody's
get-
healthy?
yeah, everybody's healthy.
Oh, what a blessing. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, oh, by the way, I have something to tell you, Claire. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, what?
I got my real estate license last month.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah. I've been saying I was going to do it for a couple of years and I finally did it.
Cool, that's awesome.
I mean, it's a crazy year, so make crazy decisions, right?
Yeah, exactly. Might as well go for it.
So really, in all seriousness, I'm super stoked about it. So while I've got you on the phone, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help 15 families achieve their real estate dreams this year before the year ends.
Okay.
So I wondered if I could ask you for some help. Do you
Oh,
know anybody that might be looking at real estate right now?
Yeah, I bet I do. I'd have to think about it. Let's see. My friend just got a job.
Guys,
in-
notice I'm not saying a word. I'm just letting her think. Keep going,
Uh,
Claire.
My friend did just get a job. She's not moving for like 6 months, but she's gonna have to move to Seattle.
Oh, wow. So here's what I've learned early on about real estate. And you know me, I've always believed this. I think people make the best decisions when they're informed. So I think my goal going into real estate is to inform as many people as possible, not just get a hold of them when they're ready to buy a house. I'd love to talk to them. I want to be their personal guide through the process. I'm kind of wondering if your friend might let me, might want to have a chat early on, just so she
Yeah.
can prep her, get ready.
I bet she would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll text her your number.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. So, and better yet, you want to put us in a group text and like introduce us?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a good idea.
So let me pause for just a minute, time out. The reason I said that, guys, that person may never call you.
That's why I said that, because
Yes.
my husband is also a real estate agent and that's happened to him. And
Yeah,
that's like,
they
well,
never
this
call.
lead is out there, but
And then you keep texting the friend and you look like, is your friend going to call? Is your friend going to call? Don't be
right.
that person, right? So listen, here's what I'd like you to do. Take control. You're the professional, right? It's up to you to take control. Control freak. I'm not the only one in the room, right? You're all control freaks because true story, right? So control freaks, listen up, take control. So, oh my gosh, Claire, it'd be awesome if you'd put us in a group text. Okay. So I'm going to tell you guys a script secret. You ready? This is something you might want to write down. And you might want to, I don't know if you guys have accountability partners through Ignite. Does everybody have somebody they're like coupled with and they can do either scripts or conversations? If you don't have that person, find them. If you need somebody, send me an email or put it in the chat and we'll help you get paired up with someone, or we'll get somebody from our team paired up with you. Okay. And here's the reason I say that. There needs to be a little bit of accountability. Okay. Real talk. There needs to be some accountability that's built in for you. So you have somebody that you can bounce some of this off of. And here's the real talk. Okay. Pretend like you have an idea and it just came to you. It keeps you in an innocent lane, right? So Bobby, going back to you saying, hey, I don't want to be salesy and I want to be ask it, right? You just don't want to be that person. None of us do, right? If you're not sure where to go with conversation, ask questions. And then when you want to turn it, oh, by the way, listen, I have an idea. Oh, this just came to me, right? Stay in that lane. And it has this innocent curiosity. I always tell my team, come from curiosity, because it's very non-judgmental, right? I'm just curious about something. If you're curious, you're very innocent about it because you're trying to collect information. So it's kind of a judgment-free place. So if you're on one of those phone calls, get curious with someone to get it moving forward and ask questions, not yes or no questions. So how's the family? Have you guys been able to go out to dinner lately? Or whatever that looks like. Not yes or no. Yeah, listen, we got to go out to a great restaurant. Oh my gosh, what was your experience like there? Did you feel safe? I mean, find some common place and open them up. We teach our team, especially new agents that are coming onto our team, people are like an onion. And we actually do training that is like peel the onion, right? So you want to peel the onion back, even if it's with people you know. Go deeper with those questions, like what Bobby and I were talking about, or Shelly and I were talking about. Go a little bit deeper to really get into that relationship and solidify it. And then, guys, you can ask for anything, but you can't take from people. What are you going to give them back? I'm going to challenge you guys with that. Remember, it's not manipulation if you come from contribution. What do you have to give to people? Well, you can give your time, you can give information, you can give resources. Right now, I'm giving Thanksgiving pies, right? We give so many pies out because we've done it for so many years. We have to rent a Penske truck and go get them, right? So, I mean, think about that. What can you give? What if you just threw something out and said, I want to give some pies out? My first year I did it, I gave like 10 or 12, right? I mean, what can you give that can be where you can come from contribution and stay in contribution? Okay. So if you're looking to build resources, we have an amazing resource. You guys will always see us in the resource. If somebody needs somebody, me, Lisa, somebody from the team is always putting somebody in there. We are chock full of resources. Okay. We have built that over the years. If you need some, we got them. If you don't, I would suggest one of the best tools for you guys is go build your own. You can borrow ours, but you may find ones that you like better or you connect with better. In these early months, early years, the best thing to do is go build some resources for you guys. They give you business too. It's a great place to find listings. So here's what I'm going to tell you.
I'm not sure what you mean by that. What do you mean build resources? I don't know what that means.
A lender, an insurance person.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Tractor.
All right.
We have attorneys and tax accountants. We have senior living care
Okay.
placement facility. I go on and on and on. So we have a ton of people. So, but guys, here's what that conversation looks like. Are you all okay if I'm just kind of all over the board like this, just throwing stuff at you? Okay. So here's what that conversation looks like. So Bobby, or does somebody else desire to go into scripts with me again? If not, I'm going to take Bobby with me. You ready, Bobby? Nobody else
Sure.
is checking. I think they're scared. I don't know. So I do a lot of role play. Okay. So Bobby, it would go like this. Let's say you are the home inspector. Okay.
Okay.
And we're going to meet, we're going to go to lunch, or we're just going to have a 30-minute meeting. It's harder to go to lunch these days, right? But we're going to have a meeting. And maybe it's Zoom like this. So listen, Bobby, I am here to support your business at the highest level and to help you. Okay. So we want to give all of our clients 3 home inspectors, and you're going to make that cut of 3. Okay. Now we're going to constantly monitor our relationship and how we're in business together, but it feels like we might be a fit to work together. What are you thinking?
I agree. Totally.
Awesome. So Bobby, I'm going to ask you a very transparent and candid question. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to give you business at a pretty high level.
Okay.
Can I set an expectation now that I know you're going to work with other realtors, and I know I'm not going to be the only realtor in your room. I understand that, and I appreciate that. I'm going to give you so many opportunities for business that I am going to expect when you have some opportunities that they come back to me. How do you feel about it?
Yep. I think that's fair.
Right? Guys, if you don't set the expectation up front, it's too late when you're already in a relationship with them, because then it just feels icky. The time to do it is to build the relationships. And remember, we just talked about it's all about relationships. It's people we know. But let's go find people we don't know that are in our business world, right? We just talked about we're control freaks. Let's control everything around us. Insurance, handyman, loans. Are you kidding me? If somebody comes with another lender, we knock them aside every time we can. I don't want any Mickey Mouse business in trying to get these things closed, right? True story. We had somebody that came with a lender with the same company that we use, okay? But we don't use that lender. We thought, oh, it'll be okay. We can't really take it away from that one lender inside and give it to our lender in the same company. That's not fair. It'll be okay. It took 92 days to close with the other lender inside the company we use, right? Pull your hair out. And you want clients to have a great experience because you want referrals, right? So yeah, what a mess. So control everything you can. Find these great people that are out there. If you don't know who they are, take some of ours, throw something in the resource group, start to assimilate this. It is a valuable thing that you can give back to people. They move into their house. Hey, do you need a painter? Do you need flooring people? Do you need a handyman? You need your TVs hung? Do you need your blinds hung? We have people that do all that. You have somebody for that, for the cable. What do you need? What do you need? So we're always constantly saying, who do you need? How can we help? People have been in their houses 9 years. Okay, I'm ready to do that kitchen. Who you got? We have a client right now. We can't find what we want. So she's like, all right, I need your guy that can build a garage. And I'll put, an apartment above it. I'm like, okay. But we ingrain it from jump with our people. They know that we have the resources. They rarely get out on Facebook. They don't go to Angie's List. They don't go ask for things. They come to us. So what value are you going to show up with? I want you thinking about that as you start your business, because huge value for sellers going on the market. You don't just go meet with somebody and put a sign in the yard. That doesn't happen very often, right? Yesterday, I was at a house. We've been waiting for the renter to get out. I walked the property as the renter was moving out with the owner, and we made a punch list. I'll show it to you. Am I the only person that when I want something, I want it like right now? Are y'all that way? So look at this. Here's the list. Can you all see this? There's the address. It's Packard Avenue. And this is everything we're going to be doing. It doesn't need a lot. It needs painting. It needs cleaning. Minor handyman work, caulking, possible painting of cabinets. Then in the bathroom needs to be fixed. Paint all the doors, front, back, and side. That's our list. Okay. They live in Michigan. They don't have anybody here. I always ask, hey, do you have somebody you trust? I don't know who we'd use. I got you. Our painter started this morning. I met with them yesterday. Right? He knows when I want something, I want it last week. Let's go. Don't hold me up on the market, right? Guys, go find these people in your world. They'll go to work for you at a high level and ask me on the paint. Like there's paint on here 3 times. We get referrals from our painter. We sold his sister a house and listed their house, right? So, but we're in business at a high level. So set the expectation from jump. This is a great place to start. All right, I could go into, I could teach a class on resources, and I do. So I won't teach that class. Have I beat that horse enough? Anybody want to ask questions about that? Awkward pause. Is that a yes? No? Okay. Shelly, is that you that just said I like it? So
I think I said I like it. Oh, I said I like it when somebody asked you to do that role play again. Claire asked for that role play
oh yeah,
a few minutes ago. So like that.
guys, we could just have a class of role play. I love that.
I know. And you know what? You said something like a few minutes ago, people are scared to know what to say because they don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I think having role play classes is a great idea. It's super awkward and weird, but you
Yep.
really feel confident when you're finished.
So true story. I'll give you guys just a little bit of background. I started with a company that's in the city, not Keller, 15 years ago this month. Okay. Black and gold, black and yellow, just so you know. Anyway, there were 5 of us that started together. That's why I said get a buddy system, right? Get people around you. When we didn't have appointments in the beginning, we would sit and do role play, do pretend listing presentations. Back in the day, I did buyer presentations before they were a thing, right? When you can role play with people and like not trip up, it's so much easier on somebody that you barely know or you don't see as much. Does that make sense? So get that accountability partner. When we're in Bold, we have accountability partners. We just call each other and we go straight into role play. It's so much fun. And role play actually turns into real play. It's pretty funny. Claire, when we were on the phone or when we were doing that role play, did that feel a little bit real towards the end?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, it
That's
did.
okay. It turns into real play. Isn't that crazy how it does? The longer you go, that's what we call it, is real play.
Yeah.
So let me give you guys, for those of you that want to start the business, and then I'll get off the resources bandwagon. Okay. But it is a great place to find business. Okay. And just so you know, a couple of years ago, resources make up 30% of our business. Mic drop, right? 30% of our business comes from people we know, resources. And it should, because we have a ton of resources and we refer them at a high level. But you guys can build to that. So here's a great script if you want to build to that and make your calls. Ready? This is the greatest script I ever got out of a role play class or out of a database class. So it goes like this. Who would like to role play with me, or real play, or whatever it's going to be? Awkward pause.
I will.
Okay, Shelly. Okay, so it goes like this. So I'm calling Shelly. So Shelly, listen, I'm calling you for two things today. I was thinking about you.
Oh,
Number
awesome.
one, most important, I want to check in on you. So we're going to go through that whole conversation, right?
Mhm.
How you are, I care about you, all that stuff. So Shelly, let me tell you the second reason I called. I am trying to build a resource for my clients and I need your help. Have you had service from somebody, any industry, any kind of resource contractor, whatever, that gave you 5-star service that knocked your socks off?
Yes.
I would love their name and number. Who was it? And how did they knock your socks off?
Stephen Fonte with Fonte Heating and Cooling. Fantastic. Comes
Okay,
out and
which
helps me whenever I need help with my air conditioner because it's junky.
Okay, so what makes him stand out as 5-star? Other than helping. I hear that.
What makes him stand out is that he cared that it was 90 degrees outside and that my air conditioner wasn't working. And he would come out and see me. And then he came out and he fixed it. And then the next day it stopped working again. He came right back out and he didn't charge me.
Oh, that's awesome. What a testimony.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
I'm going to need his name and number because I need
Yep.
another HVAC guy.
Good
Guys,
keep.
this is the way to build it. Do you see?
Mhm.
Ask
Sure.
who knocked your socks off with 5-star. Isn't that the people that you want to meet? And if you're not sure who to meet, who better to call than people you know and say who knocked your socks off, right? So Shelly, listen, I'm in real estate. I got to ask at the end of our conversation, do you know somebody that might be looking to list their home in the next 3 months? I'm trying to help about 30 families.
Oh, that's awesome. There's a girl that I know who, a lady that I know, they are downsizing. They live in a house that's too big for them. So you might be able to talk to them, see what they've got going on.
Awesome. So Shelly, do you mind putting us in a group text to intro us together?
No, I totally will.
Awesome. Listen, you've just been a wealth of information today. So
Thank
it's so
you.
awesome to talk to you. By the way, I'm giving pies away.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So, but call and ask your people for 5-star service. Guys, I still do this when we need a landscaper and we need something else. We do this as a script when we're like right now, I have many family photo sessions going on, pies going on, care calls that are all wrapped around that. So right now, I don't need that script, but we'll go to that script probably by February, unless there's another reason we need to call, right? So the number one reason that people don't stay in touch with their databases, number one, they don't make time for it. And number two, they don't know what to say, right? I'm going to tell you, make time for it because 25% of everybody you know is looking at real estate. And it attracts. If they're looking, they're having conversations with other people about it, right? I want to get right in there and go top of mind, take that mind share and have them thinking about me. Questions about this? Because we are shortly going to move into the actual, oh my gosh, I got a listing now. I got to meet with people now. What the heck am I going to do? What the heck am I going to say? Thoughts?
I'm sorry. I did have one thing I wanted to throw out.
Sure.
Especially like for where Bobby was asking.
Mhm.
I find it for when I did my spear calls. I mean, I haven't done a ton of them. I'm new.
Uh-huh.
But when I was doing mine, I started with the favor first.
Mhm.
That way I followed back with my second thing was more personal. That way, like
Mhm.
when I made the phone call, I didn't want to, because some people I don't talk to all the time, and I didn't want my call to come off as insincere at the beginning. So I started with more of the favor, like if they know anyone, and then I wrote down what the second thing was and fell back to it. Something
I
that
think I'll be comfortable with that too. Thank you for sharing that.
that it seemed to fit me better, because it almost felt forced
find a
when I
way
started out with the other one.
Yeah, you find a way that fits you. I will challenge you just a little bit, but you know what's going to fit you and what works for you, right? The favor is asking for something. I was a student of Floyd Wickman and then Brian Buffini, and now, of course, all of Gary Keller and Tony Robbins. They always say, make sure that you give to people first. So asking for that favor with some people can feel like you're taking something before you're giving something. So there's a way I think you can deliver that. Just make sure it stays in that contribution lane. Okay. Not that you take something first before you give.
That makes sense.
But no, I love it. I love it, Bill. Anybody else? Any ahas? Or are you doing some of this and you have success stories? I'd love to learn from you all.
Hey, Denise. Something, I'm not sure about all the agents on the call, if any of you are in networking groups, whether it's with the chamber or if you're in a BNI or some other type of group, but start shopping through your BNI or your whatever networking group it is. Start shopping through your networking group and shop through other people's networking group and just say, hey, do you know any painters that you like? And make a list and then start doing that. And then it's just great to shop in other people's networking groups too.
Agreed. Well, and that's a great point, Shelley. We don't just have one painter. You know how many painters we have? 4.
Nice.
We don't just have one flooring person. We have 3. So we don't just have one loan officer. We have 2 and working on a 3rd who's coming in today to meet with us. So think bigger, right? Don't just think one of each category, because what if they're booked out 10 weeks? What are you going to do then? How are you going to serve people at a high level if you're touting you got these great resources and then they can't take care of people when they need to? So have multiple, but that's a great point, Shelley. BNIs are a great place to start resources. And we built resources before I'd ever heard of BNI or even got into one. And that was an add-on for us, but it's a great start if you want to start there. But I do think that 5-star script is really going to help you dig in with people you know and start to get, I mean, there's contractors and then there's high-level contractors. You want that high level if you're going to be recommending them because your reputation's on the line, right? So you want the best of the best. So cool. Any other thoughts or questions about this?
Yes. Hey, Denise, this is Danita. And
Hi, Denise.
hi, I got a question about the pies. So if you're new and you don't have any listings or clients, how would you start giving them out pies to kind of get listings or to kind of create some additional contacts for your database?
Well, I think a couple of thoughts. Number one is we have within our database, we have what I call A+ clients, right? They will refer us over and over and over and over again. Like I can count one of them that's probably given us 15 people. Okay. Yeah. Not everybody gives you that kind of level. So number one, who are your cheerleaders that are in your corner as you get those will start to identify as your A+, right? So what you could also do, Danita, is as you call them, I want you to have purpose behind just giving out pies, right? Because then they'll take a pie, not think about you. So, right? So who's going to be your tribe that's going to be out working for you all the time and you'll be top of mind with? Once you identify those people or make those people, tell them what you want, but tell them from the beginning, listen, I know I'm going to need your help and I would love for you to help me build this business. I would love to count on you. When you know somebody, you'll go do it. You have certain relationships with critical people that I think you can have a very transparent conversation with. Yeah. And what can I do for you? Right. So, but what you could do this year, if you don't have clients, is say, I want to give pies to my favorite people. And you're one of them. Make them your favorite people. Right. Right. They don't have to know it's not clients or whatever. So here's what we do. I won't spend but 2 seconds on the pies, but guess what our script around the pies is? Yeah. What's that? Number one, it's a care call, right? We're calling and touching base. I don't get to make very many of these because they last like 20 and 30 minutes because I haven't talked to some of them in a couple of months, right? Yeah. So the first one I made Thursday, we got a buyer referral from. I mean, it's just crazy. And I never would have thought, I mean, his grandson's looking for something. It's nuts. He told me when we got off the phone, he said, I love you. How many of your clients tell you they love you, right? I'm like, well, I love you, right? Why don't we all do that more often? Anyway, our script around that pie, and it's a joke, but our clients have fun with it, is, listen, we're going to give you the pie. And if you can whip up a referral for us, by the time you pick up the pie, we'll give you a can of whipped cream for free.
Oh, that's cute.
So it is the funniest thing because they'll text us and go, get my whipped cream ready. I got you a referral, right?
Stealing it. Stealing it.
It's the biggest joke in the world. Girl, we didn't think that up. We stole that from somebody else. Right? But it's the funniest thing. So even on our team, Drew and Joey's wives are fighting now for who gets the most cans of whipped cream because they're out getting us referrals because they want the freaking whipped cream, right? It's just funny. So, and why not have fun with it, right? Be light, be funny. I mean, business doesn't have to be heavy, but you got to say what you want and you got to set the expectations early with people. So we always ask permission. Hey, I'm going to call you in a couple of months and I'm going to check in on you. Otherwise, if something happens, I'm right here for you. If you need a resource, tell me what we can do for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I like it.
And you got to mean it. But Danita, that was a long answer, but back to the original question, just get your special people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I'm giving you a pie just because.
Okay.
Come up with some kind of little marketing thing around it, right?
Yeah.
Because I love you, right?
Right. And so also with that, is there a place that you get a bulk discount on these pies?
I wish I could tell you get discount. We get ours from Costco and you pay a little more for them, but they're huge. They're like this big.
Okay.
They're 12 inches in diameter. They're huge. We tell people they're bigger than your head because they are. So.
And Danita, we get ours. I think we get ours from Sam's, and they're also humongous. And then Rhonda, my team leader, she'll go to like Hobby Lobby or Michael's and get like little plastic pumpkins and pretty ribbon and hot glue them to the top so they look all fancy. And it costs her $5 or $6.
Look at how get fancy. Ours are
Yes.
stacked in the truck, so they get stickers that says WSG loves me.
Oh.
So there's just too many to hot glue. But yeah, put your personal touch on it, whatever that's going to look like.
Yeah. Okay. This is all great, great comments. Thank you all.
You're welcome. Okay, so I think, let me see if Amy is available.
I'm here.
Yay! I was just going to text you.
Yeah.
So have we spent enough time on where we're going to get business and what we're going to say and how we're going to find those people? And then they give us somebody, and what the heck are we going to do when we sit down in front of them? Right? What are we going to say? What's that going to look like? How are we going to capture that seller? Is anybody concerned about that? Or if y'all don't want to know that, we'll just wrap up and go home, right? Or go into our day. Is this something y'all want to know?
Yes, please.
Okay. I was like,
For sure.
Are you, look, I'm very patient with the question, right? Just awkward pauses, right? Okay. So Amy, will you fire that up? Do you mind?
Sure thing.
I'm helpless because I'm on an iPad. So Amy is being so awesome. So this is basically what we say to sellers when we are sitting in front of them. This is a workshop that we did, which was like a big listing presentation to them. But this is the nuts and bolts of what we say. Amy, if you want to click through that, we have some information about our team. So make sure you put information about your team. Our words that we use are, we want to wow you with what we do. And we have to earn the right for you to be our client for life. We call them in the middle of everything and ask them if we're wowing them. Find what works for you, but I would suggest you do something like that. Okay. But if you're going to say you're going to wow, you got to be able to deliver the wow. Remember, we talked about get to know your market. Get in the MLS and pull out stats. KWLE does a great job of releasing market information. They put that in the resources group. Sometimes it's in culture, but mostly it's in the resources. And they'll say how we're rocking it and killing it in the market. Until you have your own statistics, use KWLEs, but know your market. Okay. So we usually say just a little bit about, let me tell you what's going on in the market. So, and it is a perfect storm, guys, right now. You can use those words because rates are less than 3% and sellers make a lot of money and money is low for buyers. We've never seen anything like this. So, and you can say that. Why would someone want to sell their home and they're going to have a hard time finding it? Tell them that they may have to have a backup plan of where to go until they find their home. Nobody wants a contingent offer right now. So a seller does not need to be contingent. They need to either get approved for 2 houses, do a bridge loan where they put them together and it's one payment, or they go sell their house and they're living in somebody's basement or ready to in case they don't sell in time. That's a whole nother class on techniques about how to get those 2 contracts together. We have not, knock on wood, had anybody that has had to go find temporary housing. It's all worked out for every seller, and every one of our sellers, the majority of them are getting approved for 2 houses. I don't know how it's happening, but they are. So, because nobody wants a contingent offer. We love to talk about this because we can't stand this company. My number 1 goal is to put them out of business. And get ready, guys, because Zillow is opening up branches of brokerages and hiring agents in our area. So get ready. Okay. My Zestimate says my home is worth $150,000. So that's what I should list it at. Here's a wonderful stat that we love to say. The CEO of Zillow sold his house for 40% less than what his Zestimate said. The algorithm is terrible. True story. Listed my sister's house. Okay. It was in Woods of St. Thomas and it went fast. But in the process, in the first 6 hours, Zillow took their Zestimate up $72,000 because of the views and the saves that were from the time we listed it to the time 6 hours later, it had gone up that much money. Figure that out. So get those estimates out the window. And listen, what you don't say is in their mind. So say it. Like, oh, it didn't come up. No, we're talking about it because I don't want to hear about it later. Right? Talk about it when you're sitting in front of them. So then you're not in defense mode. You're the expert. So deliver the info. Guys, I don't want to spend much time on this, but I want to tell you, Zillow's estimates are not value, and tell them why. Okay.
Hey,
But that does come up.
If you don't
Yep.
mind, I'd just like to, for anyone who doesn't understand the backstory of Zillow, this is not just about they have unreliable information.
Yes.
Over the last couple of years, they have, through their actions and their statements, attempted to make real estate agents obsolete. They want no more than for us to be door openers and to get maybe a 0.5% commission. So this isn't about just competition or anything. This is surviving and thriving. And this is exactly why Gary Keller has created the end-to-end platform and all of these, the holding company and all of the companies, so that we are outperforming Zillow. So I just want to drive that home, that this is, it's not just like a love-hate relationship. This is something that it's all
real.
have to be aware of. Yep.
Yes. Well, and I'll add to that, Amy. We have the greatest Zillow story ever, other than the one about my sister's house. We had a client call us and the property had been sold 5 years ago. So, and I tell my sellers, all of them, I can't live without Zillow on the listing side. Too many people are on it, but we tell all of our buyers, get off of it, and we send them our app. And the reason is it's incorrect information. The reason they don't update the information is they want all the leads and they're selling it back to realtors. And those leads aren't good, right? The property sold 5 years ago. It's not even available. It's not even relevant in a conversation. So many reasons. Thank you, Amy.
Yep.
You all have questions about that? So when I'm sitting in front of somebody, guys, I don't take a PowerPoint in. I take a small folder of information. I go over at the end. I am in conversation and that's it. If you take a PowerPoint in and you get a laptop out, they're going to think you're staying all night long and they're going to kick you out. The world is too busy. When I first got in the business, I would take my laptop in, and marketing is my thing. I did marketing and sales for 15 years before I got in real estate. I would go by and I'd take a picture of their property and I'd make a marketing thing, and I had a stand-up folder and I'd impress them. I already did marketing on your house before I showed. Nobody cares about that. Okay. They don't. They want you in and out of their house as fast as possible. And they want you to tell them things they haven't heard or dumb it down to where it's just simple. Okay. The world moves way too fast. There's no reason to be at somebody's house more than 45 minutes to an hour. 30 minutes would be great. Those are my favorite, right? So there's 4 reasons a home sells or doesn't sell. Guys, here's a listing presentation right here. 4 reasons it sells or doesn't. Price, condition, location, and marketing. I say this all the time. I used to say this in my BNI. They used to say it for me. All realtors are not created equal. We are not, right? We do not all market the same way. So borrow what I say if you want to, but you guys got to be able to back it up. All right, here's what I tell sellers. So there's 4 reasons your home is going to sell or not sell. Let's talk about it. Price, condition, location, and marketing. So our marketing works every time. I take it off the table. Guys, we just sold a house that was in the market. I was the 6th realtor on for 12 years. Our marketing works. I can say that, right? So is it location? It might be, but if their location is good, I'm going to take location off the table. Then it's price and condition. If you're not top condition, you're reflecting that in price. Ultimately, for most people, it's always price. Otherwise, location and condition are reflected in that. What I just said is it's all about your price and you better be mindful of it. You got to hit that really hard. I don't ever have to call and ask for a price adjustment, and we do very few in the market, but I don't ever have to call and ask for it. They call us and go, wow, I know you said the price was up to us, but I'm wondering if we listed too high. Do you think a price adjustment might help? Yes, I do. You should be off the market. When you hit this so hard about why it's going to sell or why it's not going to sell, there's no question. Am I going way too fast? Because I'm in my lane and I love, this is my juju. Okay, how do I find success in this market? It's the other thing that we tell people. You got to look the best, and be the best price. Okay? If we don't look the best, and be the best price, guys, we're sitting for a minute. It takes more looks to get off the market. You guys know the average number of showings it takes to get a home off the market? You might want to write this down. This is statistic from NAR and a marketing statistic. 10 showings or less, you should be off the market. 10. Staged homes should be off in 5. If you're not the prettiest house, you're more like 15 to 20. So tell them that. Set the expectation. They count the showings. Oh my gosh, we've had 10 showings. What do? We need to reevaluate that price, right? Price, condition, location, market, right? We go right back into all that. Am I going too fast? Y'all want to ask questions around this as we go? Okay. What do we mean by look the best? Stage it. Home sells 73% faster when they're staged. Your home appeals to over 90% of people, whether they like it or not, they fall in love with it. Stage homes yield 8 to 10% more in money because they sell the fastest. And typically you spend less than 3% to stage it. It's worth it. Y'all want to know a secret? We do a lot of virtual staging. I don't fool people. We put the empty photo right behind the stage photo. And then I double photos in the MLS. Cool, right? But stage it. We use Box Brownie. If you want a staging company, there are others out there. Stucco, Matt Langdon does a good job. There are other companies out there, but Box Brownie for us works the best. They take stuff out. If there's an ugly table in, take it out and put something else in for me. They can stage outdoor spaces. Outdoor spaces are huge. Don't go have your seller spend a ton of money. I'll stage it, right? We have to think for, I always tell sellers this, we have to think for our buying audience. They're moving way too fast and they can't always visualize. Think for them, think for the market, okay? Has anybody had experience with staging homes? And we have a stager, Lynn Mawbury does staging for us. And I've got 2 others. I've got 3 stagers.
Denise, what's the average cost to stage?
If you're actually going to bring things in, a consult's about $250. And they give them an action list of things to do. So you guys want to buy behind the scenes tip? If you're uncomfortable at first saying what needs to be done, I'm very direct and I'll go in and tell them what they need to do. I call it an action plan so I don't hurt their feelings. Guys, after we set your price and we get moving, we're going to walk back through and get our action plan together, right? But if you're not comfortable in the beginning doing that, because you're new, you're just like, I don't even know how to deliver this. Let a stager go in and do it for you. If you're not sure how to tell them how to paint the walls, the stager will do it. Pay somebody. I don't pay for the staging, they do. So here's how I sell it. Guys, I'm gonna pay for your professional photography, your video, and we do a lot of drone photography. I'm gonna pay for all of that. And I'm gonna ask you guys to pay for the staging. It's $250 for a consult. And then they do, and I tell them, they're gonna give you a list of things they want you to do. The stagers a lot of times will position their own items. So it's rare that they have to bring a lot of stuff in. Now, if it's a new construction house, a big price point, we bring some things in, but we're only doing community space and master. Okay. And sometimes the master is just decluttering and those kind of things, but community space, which is your kitchen, your dining room, and your living room area, and maybe your outdoor. So, but you can do it two different ways. Box brownie is much, much cheaper. It's about $45 a photo. And to remove things is like $10 an item. That's why we've gone to more virtual staging than having to, but guys, I've been doing this so long, I'm almost like a stager. I tell them what to move, where to move it, what to paint, what colors, here's what we're going to do. And they do it and we sell. So, but until you get familiar with it and you know what you're doing, call these people in. Because it's worth it. So, and again,
Denise?
Lynn Marbury. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just going to ask you about Lynn. Does she work with Box Brownie or she work on her
No,
own?
Box Brownie is separate. They're virtual.
Oh, they're virtual. Okay.
Yeah, she is Living Spaces by Lynn. They are a award-winning design team over in Middletown. They actually do construction. You can see it here in this picture, this space. They actually extended this kitchen out and did a really good job with it. So they're almost like general contractor. A lot of our designers have become general contractors, but they have that design flair. But this stuff isn't cheap, guys. But just the consulting itself is cheaper. You know what I'm saying? It's about $250. So you can go on through that, Amy. Be the best. How are you the best? We just give them a little checklist. Hire the stager. Watch your curb appeal. What are you doing outside? Declutter it. Depersonalize. Get those freaking family photos down. Nobody wants to see them. They get distracted. Put all the precious moments, all the collectibles. Nobody wants to see it. Pre-pack it, right? Paint, I tell people, changes everything. It's the cheapest thing you can do. So our painters, I mean, we paint everything pretty much before it goes to market. If not, the market will convince them to paint, right? Because you'll get left behind. And I don't care how hot this market is, you'll get left behind if you're not the best and look the best. So I tell people, get a Mr. Clean magic erase marker and run around your house and touch up all the scuff marks on rooms you're not painting. Fix loose handles. I have them replace a lot of their switch plates and those kind of things. If they're dulled out or yellowed out, change your furnace filter. We add a lot of plants and a lot of things for photos. Check for odors. Guys, you got to be able to tell them if it smells like smoke. Can you deliver that? Guys, can I be honest with you? And here's the way that goes. Shelly, on a scale of 1 to 10, how honest do you want me to be with you tonight?
Tell me everything.
Okay. So I'm very direct. So when I say something, it's not to hurt your feelings. It's so we can get to a better result. Agreed? Okay. Shelly, I need to tell you the house smells like smoke. What can we do about it? And then sit back and watch the couple fight. I told you to quit smoking in here, right? And then it becomes kind of a laugh, right? But you got to be able to say it.
And pets.
And pets.
Pets.
Got to be honest with you. I smell pet odor here. Do you want to tell them, or do you want them to read about it and feedback, and then then you're in critical status? So you either take control of the market or it takes control of you. Right? So be the best price. Pricing your home is so critical. Don't test the market right now. We say, let's pick the best strategy for your home. And we are having almost everything pre-appraised because it validates when a third party comes in. Guys, I have an appraiser that does a discounted pre-appraisal. If you want his name, borrow him. They are $500 to $600 in the market, and our guy will do it for you for about $3. Our discount is heavier than that, but you guys would have to build your business with him. So we have almost everything pre-appraised. I don't want any surprises, and I want to know if I can use it in marketing or if I'm going to have a hiccup later. And what I mean by test the market, let's go up here and grab every dollar that we can. Stop it. Amy, I'm going to pause here for a minute on the screen. Here's what I tell people. I trust the market, and I'm going to ask you to trust it. Claire, will you role play with me again? I'm picking on you 3. Will you role play with me again?
Yes.
Okay. So Claire, I'm going to ask you not to test the market because it could leave us in a New York minute. Ask me what I mean by that.
What does that mean?
Okay. I'm glad you asked, Claire. So here's what that means. I'm going to ask you to trust the market. I see this all the time. So I'm going to tell you 100% trust the market, right? It'll take you to where you're meant to be. So I'm going to ask you to do a pricing strategy that feels like we leave a little bit of money on the table, but are we really? Right? Well, how much would that be? Maybe that's $5,000 to $10,000. And listen, Claire, if we're meant to go up that $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, the market will take us up by giving us multiple offers and offers over that.
Okay.
What if we don't, right? What if we don't get multiple offers? When we just found our price faster without having to do a price adjustment, and it saved you money. Because guys, the day I list a property, my hair's on fire until it goes off. 100%. True story. We just listed 1815 Rankin. These are previous clients, A+ clients, a ton of respect, right? And they wanted to go higher. I said, guys, don't you dare. Don't test this market. Let's price it here. We did go above our pre-appraisal because it wasn't my appraiser that did it. And I thought it was a little low. So we went above that, but we didn't go as high as they wanted to go. We sold it last night, $20,000 over our price. Right? Let the market take you there. So, and here, I would caution you on price. Are you setting their price? You don't want to be dragged into crack in mediation saying Claire and Shelly and Bobby and Bill and Denise and all of us that are on here told me that's what my price was going to be. Don't tell them what their price. Here's what I tell people. Claire, you're going to set your price tonight, but I'm going to give you enough information that you're going to feel like you know what you're doing. Now, I'm your guide and I'm your little Jiminy Cricket that sits on your shoulder. And I'm going to be right here to tell you what I think. Right? And I'm not going to hold back. Claire, I will wear you out till we're off the market. Okay? And I do. I wear them out. You sure about that price? You sure about that price? You sure about that price? Because it's price, condition, location, and marketing, right?
Denise, can I ask? So you're asking them to pay for that, right?
Pay for the pre-appraisal? Yes, every time.
Okay, all right. Because I sold my house in Kansas City before I moved here, and I had a pre-appraisal done because I was actually doing it myself.
Yeah.
And so it appraised for $325, and I knew I'd done my own little market research, and I said, no, I think that's way off. So I put it for $359. And the appraiser said, well, you're going to have a problem because it won't appraise for that. Well, I ended up selling it for $359 full price to a cash buyer. I didn't even have to have appraisal.
Right.
So so, I mean, it was like, I don't know. I guess I got nervous about that's $35,000 difference. If I'd have went with the appraiser's price, I don't know that it would have elevated up $35,000. So I'm just curious How do you feel
It
about these?
would, I promise you, it will. When
Well,
you, when you can 100% trust the market, and if
Okay,
you want to trust it, take my trust, right? Borrow my trust until you get trust, right? 100%. I see this every single day. The market will find the right price. Now, here's what I say to them. Bobby, will role play a little bit. Bobby,
okay,
here's what I'm going to tell you. I want you to trust it. Sometimes it will surprise us. Okay. However, I'm going to ask you to trust it and it'll take us where we're meant to go. If you're meant to get that, fine. There are times that I disagree with them and I'll test it a little bit above it. But here's what I tell them. We can test it a little bit above it. Remember, we're not testing at the top of the market though. Don't do that. It'll leave you. Okay.
Right.
Especially if you don't look the best, be the best, and pay the best price. Right.
right.
So get that value down to where it feels like you're leaving value for people. Right. That's how you work hard for your seller, because you're getting it into multiple offer. Now, the conversation behind that is we had that pre-appraisal. Guys, we need to lean into that a little bit. So instead of pricing Rankin at 320 where we wanted to price it, we priced it at 305 because our appraisal was at 290. See what I'm saying? So I believe strongly enough in 305 that I was like, yeah, y'all can do that, right? We sold at 320. It had an escalation clause of 325, right? We just didn't go that high. So it'll take you for a ride. So here's what I tell them though. So guys, we know we could have a potential hiccup because had you not had a cash buyer, you might have had a hiccup on your hands, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So let's make sure we set this right here and now. And then I continue to say it through the transaction once we're under contract. It's great that we got that higher price. Don't anybody breathe until that appraisal is over, and do not count that money or spend it. If we don't go up and try to get more, well, then we never would have had it in the first place. But when we go up like that, we're kind of this skyscraper that's leaning sideways and blowing in the wind. Are we going to get it? Are we not? Are we going to fall? Are we not? Most of the time, an appraiser does not set out to kill your deal. Okay. But the difference of a pre-appraisal is they don't have a price. You're asking on a pre-appraisal with the zero information about where it should land, go find the market value. It's different than the appraisal that's done by the lending institution once you have a buyer. That has a concrete contract price, and that is a gauge for the appraiser to say, go find this value, and then stop. It's very rare that those appraisers will show much value. Mysteriously, it's usually $1,000 to $2,000 above it. Isn't that funny? No, they just working. They found the value and stopped, right?
Sure.
So they're two different type of appraisals. Be aware of that. But it's an opinion. And I tell people it's an opinion, but it's an opinion that we have to lean into because it's third party, right? But yes, we beat those pre-appraisals all the time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. But I would suggest this, guys, because it validates your price. It helps me when we're $50,000 to $70,000 apart from where they should list to where they are going to list. It helps me tremendously because it comes in, oh, she kind of knows what she's talking about, right? Especially if I don't know them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would get everything pre-appraised. I recommend it and have them pay for it. You don't have to carry the burden of everything. Okay. You're in this together, but it's pay me now or pay me later. I like pay me now. I want as much information as I can get up front. And then I know what I'm working with to better go to work for a seller. Does any of this conversation scare anybody? And I'm flying through it, so I'll slow down a little bit. I'm a high D, so I go really fast, right? Does any of this scare? Can we have this conversation with people? Can you all deliver it? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think it maybe comes back to just being familiar with the market and having experiences. But before you have experiences, what are the top things to do every day, hot sheets, like to just really know the market? To
know the market?
Yeah.
I'll give you guys a little tip. Sometimes from the time we meet with somebody to the time they come on the market. And this is, we also do this for all of our closed clients. You guys want a little tip? I'll give it to you. We set up a search, active, pendings, and solds, and now active under contracts in there too. So from the time they go to market, sometimes it's 2 months. Like I met with a couple Friday night. We're not coming on until December. Got a little bit of work to do. Otherwise, I'd have them on the market next week. Okay. So we have some work to do. In the meantime, I've set them up on a search so they can see everything that's happening, because the market we're in Friday versus December could be a little bit different, right? So have them, if there's a gap, definitely have them active, pending, and solds. I look at our buyer pool. We measure hits on all the big websites. You guys know you list over to 600 websites with KW. You can write that down, because that, I think it's 610 or 15. Amy can probably give us the number, but it's over
950.
How many?
950.
Oh, wow. See, it's grown. So when you're competing, you want to hit that. We list over 950. I mean, it was just 600 and some, not even a year at family reunion, I think. So look at that. I learned something today. Thank you, Amy. So you can talk about that. You can talk about, these are the things that we're going to be doing for you. So, but you just don't want to get so wrapped up in all this. I always say this, my husband says this all the time back to me now. Don't sell with blah, 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 sell with blah. But if you're too quick and you don't set the expectation around the right things, you're going to fight that seller through the whole transaction. And you're going to be like, oh, they're calling me again. I don't ever want to feel like that with one of my clients, and it's on me. It's not them, it's me. If I set the expectations up front and I take control up front, it's still their decision. It's not manipulation if you come from contribution, right? So if you set the tone up front and you set the stage of expectations, guys, it's not rocket science. It's simple, not easy, but it is simple. Did I answer that question clear? I'm like a politician today. Did I answer that?
Yeah, you answered it.
But okay, one last thing, and Amy, you don't have to go back to pricing. One last thing I'll say about pricing, guys. I have the coolest thing. Now, guys, I built a business when there were 16 months of inventory. The market crashed. I got in 2006. The market crashed in 2008. And in 8, 9, 10, 11, and even parts of 12, we had anywhere from 18 to 14 months of inventory all the time. Flip it, totally opposite than the market we're in now. Everybody thought their home was worth more than it was. Totally, even though today people think it was. I mean, I would have to go in and their net sheets were negative. Like it was a browbeat for sellers. Okay. I would do an exercise with them, and I'll touch on it real quick. Claire, you know where we said, let's have some comps, and
Yeah.
you know the market. So here's what I would do. I would take a husband and a wife, and I would take this blank sheet of paper in, and I'd divide it active in a marker, actives on the top and solds on the bottom. I would say, guys, let's look at what's sold around you in the neighborhood. I'm going to call these off, or actually I would give it to them and make them a team. Okay. One of you write and one of you call them off to the other one. And I just give it to them. Okay. Write your actives here and write your closed at the bottom, and just write the price. So they would write 125, 140, 115, 119, and they wanted 175. And then I'd say, guys, what does that tell you from what you're looking at? Mm-hmm. I never had to have a pricing conversation about you're overpriced. That is one of the best ways to deliver it. Let people self-discover. Our role in all of this is to guide and give information, and it's their decision. Right? Even though we take control, I just put bumper pads on it. I don't ever make their decisions. I'm not going to be hauled into correct saying Denise told me to list my house at X. I'm not going there. Okay. So, but you got to give them enough information that they self-discover, and you have to be confident enough. So you have to know your stats. You have to know what's moving in the market before you go in. Before I go in right now, I look at every active in the zip code and say, guys, do you know how many homes are for sale like you? 6, 12, 0, 1, 2, whatever that number is, and I deliver it to them. Do you know how many have sold in the past year? And I won't even get into the complicated discussion of absorption rates, but at some point you guys need to learn what an absorption rate is. It's how many are active versus how many just sold, and what's my expected time to get off the market. So, but you got to start turning over data. I lived in data for 15 years before I got into marketing, or before I got into real estate through my marketing career. I just brought all that data with me. We turn over data at such a high level, and Claire, that was you that asked that question. I'm so full of data, I'll nerd out on anybody. I don't like to spend the time to get it, but I love what I get from it, so I go get it. So Toby Gwaltney is our favorite appraiser. I told you guys I'll share his contact information. I will give you guys either my phone or my email. Probably my email works best. And that way, if you have questions or you want us to share something with you, we'll see that. Let's be clear, Lisa will see that, right? And she'll send it to you. So, but the appraisal, in my opinion, is the pivotal piece. I don't worry about inspection. I don't worry, period. And I do have a conversation when I'm sitting in front of a couple who my worrier is. You guys want me to walk you through that conversation I have with the seller as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So usually when I'm sitting in front of a couple, and even if it's a one person, I want to learn who I'm sitting in front of, because unless it's a repeat customer, they're a referral, most likely. I mean, we're 80% referral. So most likely they're a referral, and I don't know them intimately like I do our other clients, right? So what I say to them is, guys, who's our worrier of the two of you? And then I'm quiet, and they give each other up. Oh, it's her, definitely. Oh, it's him. Okay. So let's say we identify who that person is. Well, I'll tell the other one, hang on, I need to talk to, if Amy is our worrier, I need to talk to Amy for a minute. Okay. Amy, listen, I want to have a real conversation with you. Are you ready for this? Always get permission to deliver it. So listen, Amy, worry is a sign of frustration. Frustration is always a lack of information and a lack of communication. So I want to open a line of communication with you here today. So as we embark on this journey, if you're worried, concerned, upset, however you want to label it, I want to know that I want to know about it. It lets me know I need to give you more of whatever, more information, more something, because you're worrying. So I don't allow them to worry. And I don't mean that cliche. They actually will give each other up, and I'll get a text, so-and-so's worried. They need you to touch base with them. I'm like, thank you. Because worry, guys, like any of you have teenage kids that are out driving. If your teenager comes in 5 minutes late, do you think, oh, they'll be here any minute? Or are you thinking, oh my gosh, they're in a ditch? Think about the natural tendency of the brain. It just goes to the worst case automatically. And in our worrier people, there's always 1 and 2. They're worrying about everything that can go wrong. And I tell them, listen, if I catch you worrying about this, you're going to give it life. And then we're going to have some difficulties. So stop it. Because we don't want difficulties in a transaction. Okay. So, but when you can open a line of communication to that worrier, oh my gosh, then it's a line of communication where they feel safe. You got to create a safe place for them to land, to be able to talk to you and talk in a different language than what they're used to. I would say that's one of our number one things. We do that on the buy side and the selling side. We always identify our worrier. Y'all have questions about that conversation? No? Okay. So what to know, this is what we tell sellers, what to know before you list your home. Surround yourself with a team of professionals. In this climate of this market, it takes experience. Guys, the days of putting a sign in the yard and the home selling automatically are over. I don't know if you know, but not every home is selling in record clips like it was. The market is starting to turn. Every week, there's over 200 homes that are staying on the market that weren't there before. If we keep that up in the next 5 to 6 weeks, we'll be in an entirely new market. Instead of having 1,700 to 1,900 homes on the market, we'll have closer to 3,000. You see how fast that market can change? Get in the data, look at your actives every day, look at your pendants every day, and watch the trends and know what kind of market you're moving in. Because once you feel that it's turned, it's already turned. And then your conversations have to turn. of what you say to people have to turn. We shoot our conversations out 6 months ahead of whatever market we're in. So that way they don't go, well, you told me 2 months ago this, now you're telling me something different. Get your conversations way out ahead of a market that's turning. I'm meeting with sellers going, guys, it's starting to slow down. It is. I don't know. I don't know if you all feel it, but we're slowing down a little bit. Don't panic. The market's fantastic, but it is starting to slow and it will start to turn around. Thank you, Maggie. You agree. Yes. Not every home is going off the market. That's why you can't test it right now. But the days of putting a sign in the yard are gone.
Does that have to do with the weather?
It can, like Halloween, super quiet. I thought I'd be busy all day. Nothing happened on Halloween. We're in election. I don't know about you guys, but last Sunday through Wednesday was super quiet. And we have listings at all price points, different areas. And it was super quiet. And then whatever happened Wednesday night, the market woke up with a vengeance. Thursday, Friday, quiet Saturday, and went off the hook yesterday. So it's like this little beast, and you have to follow it and find it. Claire, back to your information about data. I live in data from before we take the listing to when we take the listing to if it's not sold, we're still in the data with them. I had a house a couple of years ago. It was in a different market, meaning it was not so much of a seller's market. And we were priced appropriately. We actually had it pre-appraised and it wasn't selling. Biggest feedback was it didn't have a basement, but it was 3,200 square feet above grade. Okay. So I was running market data, and guess what? And I do this all the time. We had this happen last year in Crestwood for 62 days. But in this zip code, Fern Creek, it was over in Glen Mary. In that zip code, a home of that price point did not sell for a 90-day period. 90 days. It's 3 months, guys. 3 months. It didn't sell. Well, had I not been running that data, I'd have kept telling him to lower his price, lower his price, lower. Remember, price, condition, location, and marketing. Well, when homes aren't selling, why would you lower your price anyway? No one's looking at you. That makes sense? So you got to get in the data and know what's moving around a home and how many homes have gone pended. We look at that every week. If we have a listing that's still sitting, what's gone pended that we didn't, right? And you can start to find the market. We found that last year in Crestwood for 62 days, the $400,000 to $500,000 price point froze out in Crestwood of all places. That's riddled with $400,000 and $500,000 homes. Nothing sold for 62 days in Crestwood. It just happens. The market just takes a breath and it moves around different areas of the city, and you've got to find it and follow it. I could nerd out on data. Am I freaking anybody out about data? Just get in there. The MLS is a plethora of information. And the more dissective you can be to neighborhoods and zip codes, the more you'll find the market and you'll start to understand it. And yes, we talk about it like it's a living, breathing entity, because it is. So always create this action plan, guys. Stage it, pre-appraise it, and then relax. I tell people you've done all the work to get it ready, the painting, whatever they're going through to get it ready. Now you're turning it over to us. Let us take care of it and be confident in that. So, and then that's basically it. Questions, thoughts. It's a lot of information to take in. Can you have these conversations? Do you feel a little like you're a little more armed with information to be able to go out and talk to a seller who's ready to take a listing?
I got a quick question for you.
Sure.
I know I was supposed to jump in there and be like, me.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to ask is, for you, for a lot of the stuff you said there, I don't think I'd have a problem saying it to people, but how long did it take you to be in the business before you actually felt like you knew the stuff that you just told us to tell people? Because right now, I don't necessarily think that I know all the things that you were laying out to people to make them feel good about when I was listing their stuff.
That's a great question. When I first came into real estate, I brought all that data with me. So it was 08 and it was 06, and it was a really good market. And people didn't understand why I would look at data and what that was. So I have been telling sellers from jump how we're going to look at it and what we're going to do. I can totally nerd out on you guys. I measure the buyer pool weekly on how many buyer matches we have to us. I know the average that it takes any property to get off the market. Like, I'm a total nerd about that kind of stuff. So I do it from jump. But I will tell you, some of the things that I've said and added into what I just shared with you guys have come in along the way, because it's where we've had hiccups in a transaction, or it's a new script that we've learned. Like, the marketing works every time. I learned that at family reunion probably 3 years ago from a high level team. I was like, shoot, our marketing works. We come in behind other realtors. We sell things that other people don't. I just need to start to say it. So that's just years of information being rolled up into one. And that's where we are now. Next year, it might look different. So it takes a while, I think, to have the confidence. But for me, the confidence came early, and it was because I knew the market. I knew the market inside and out, and said things that people had never heard. I didn't put in here, but we do a net sheet. The culmination of the end of that listing appointment goes like this. And here's our stats, and you guys need to get your stats, but borrow KWLEs for now. When we list a home, do you guys know the average of the MLS for the year that it takes to get off where the market will accept a property? It's 96.5% of list price. Okay. At KWLE, and this is my script that I tell sellers, I'd give them that 96.5. At KWLE, 50% of us are top agents. We sell higher in the market. We're at 97.5%. We outperform the market. I say that I want them to understand what our brand of KWLE does. Okay. And then our team, and I know this just because we run data, we sit higher than anybody else. We do less price adjustments. I make people $7,500 more than anybody else. Start to measure your statistics. But even if you don't have that last stat, say the 96.5% of list price and the 97.5, which is Keller Williams. You are part of Keller Williams. That is your stat. So I'm setting expectation. So when I do a net sheet, I have them set their pretend list price. We're not always marrying it that night, but we get pretty close. And then I do their net sheet selling price at 96.5%. And then I show them everything it takes to be, or that it would be on a closing statement. It's not just commission. And I'll give you guys we'll talk about how to deliver that commission conversation, and then pay off whatever. And then they get a walkaway number. Our sellers live for that information. It takes the emotion out of it. I can't make a decision out of it. It's always, if you ask a seller, and I do, how can we wow you? And what's the number one thing that's important to you? Make me the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. 99% of them will always say that. If they've had a bad experience, it's going to be communication in there too. But typically it's make me the most amount of money and sell me the fastest. When you live in the numbers, it takes all the emotion out of it. So we can tell people, we can tell you what we think and what we feel, but we'll always go to the data to tell the story. So if you want a story to tell, get into the data, and it will tell you the story until you have the experience behind it. It's a long way to answer that question. Does that help?
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I thought I muted it. If you heard my little girl.
You're good. You're good. So if you want to deliver, let's talk about this real quick. If you want to deliver the commission conversation, when I do the net sheet, that commission is right there. And guys, we're luxury about 35 to 40% of the time. And those are big commission dollars. Okay. And here's the way I deliver that. And I'll say, hey, we charge, here's what we charge, right? We're not going to have that. I'm not going to violate anti-Sherman Act, so we're not going to talk about commissions, percentages, but here's what we charge. And here's what I tell them. I'm going to charge you this as long as you don't act up. And if you act up, I'm going to charge you more. It just takes that everybody takes a breath when I say that. And it's a joke, but I can kind of get away with it. But it's true. You're going to act up, I'm going to charge you more because I got to deal with you, right? So then they fall into line. But here's how we break it down. So we give the buyer's agent their cooperative percentage because we're so happy that they made that happen. So Keller Williams takes a piece, Uncle Sam takes a piece. We have to take expenses out of that. So we live off like 0.5%. And I never have questions. I never have to battle commission ever. especially once I say that. So don't fear that commission conversation. You're worth it. You're worth it. Your time, your experience, your data, all of that, you're worth it. So don't hide from it. Put it right out there so they can see it. And if you're not doing those net sheets, you need to be doing a net sheet, because sellers don't understand all the other pieces of what they're paying for. And the night before closing and they get their closing statement, it'll blow up like a bomb on you if you're not showing them all the fees that it takes. It's your responsibility to do that. No one else is there guiding them. Good question. Other thoughts, concerns? That's pretty much what we wanted to talk about. I'm going to open the last 10 minutes or so for questions or ahas, or if you want me to go back over any kind of scripts, or if you're struggling somewhere, I'd love to help you. So I'll be quiet. What are your thoughts? Really? You guys are so quiet. I thought we agreed to go back and forth and have energy both ways. Did you learn something?
There's a lot here. I think right now I feel like bloated. I'm so full of goodies.
That's
This
pretty
was a
funny.
lot of stuff, but it's really, really great stuff. I'm very grateful for this class today. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Did I go too fast? Would you like anybody want me to recover any section?
Not for me.
And guys, if I can just jump on and say something. I said this, I think last week, but I took this series of classes last May or June, whenever it was offered last, and I really liked it. And I'd already been an agent for almost a year at that point. And I say, if you're a new agent, the next time this comes around, take it again. Because there's just so much, and different presenters, you pick up different things from different people. So don't feel too overwhelmed, just take it again. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And yeah, we all deliver in certain ways. And what you'll see is by having interaction with different agents, you'll pick up different tidbits and you'll go, hey, that little piece will work for me. And you'll start to put that into where it builds your business. And it's all these little things. I think we all think we got to go out and build a skyscraper, right? Just go out and build a really solid foundation with a house. And it's all built through relationships and conversation and your mindset. Bottom line, that's all it is. You got to get your mindset right first. Then you got to have conversations and get in relationships with people. And then you got to be able to say what needs to be said. The one thing we didn't talk about today that had we been live, I might have spent 5 minutes on is the DISC. I asked you guys if you had taken the DISC assessment. We teach our team, we start with the DISC. It's the first piece of interviewing in our 9-step process to come onto our team. Yes, it's exhausting. We do all the career visioning and then add a couple of our own pieces. But with the DISC, when you learn about yourself and how you show up, that's key. And then the number 2 thing is then you start, when you know yourself, you can understand how you're perceived by other people. And when you know how you're perceived, then you can spin that and you can figure out who I'm setting in front of and how to communicate and what they're going to need. Meaning a high D, I'm a high D. Give me the information as fast as you can. Don't waste my time. Okay. And they want to feel, they want all the feels from you. They want to be in a relationship with you before they're going to give anything up. Okay. And S hates change. So we have to bring them along, but we have to speak their language. And a C wants all the facts and figures you can give them. So learn right away. Like we teach our agents to know who I'm on the phone with, our administrative team. We have a form, it's called Pass the Baton, where we tell our administrative staff once they're under contract and as they're working with them, this person is this DISC profile. It tells our entire team what they're going to need from us. When you can go into someone else's house of communication, they'll feel like it's one of the best conversations they ever had. And when you can effectively do that without changing who you are, guys, that's where magic happens. So become a student of that DISC and communication. how to study yourself first and then learn how other people show up, it will help you as you meet and collect all these people along your journey. That's my advice for you. That's parting thoughts. So, but I would get into that. If you've not had an assessment, you can talk to Amy, you can talk to Laura, you can even talk to Vicky, and they'll send you those assessments, and then you need someone to go over that with you. Are we still doing those, Amy?
Yes, you just let front desk know, let Vicky at the front desk know. She'll send you the instructions. And I mean, it takes 20, 30 minutes to do it, and you get the results pretty quickly. It's nice to have someone to validate that with you. So if you're on a team, you're going to want your team, your rainmaker, to validate that. If you're not on a team, then Alyssa Withrow, Linda Cecil, or Laura Webb can validate that with you.
Yeah, it's just good information. The more we learn about ourselves, then we can start to learn about other people. But we have to go inside to kind of go outside, basically. So my parting thoughts with you guys would be, say what you think, right? Don't hold back. Your clients deserve better. They need to know what's happening. Figure out a way to say it and just ask for permission. That script that we did, Shelly and I did, on a scale of 1 to 10, how honest do you want me to be with you? Ask them. Ask them how honest they want you to be with them. Okay. I might say things. I tell people I'm very direct. Is that going to bother you? They're like, no, hit me hard. I'm like, okay, then we can talk. But I ask permission, and we create a lane of safety that where we can say what we want to say. So it's how you set those conversations up. You can't just come at somebody hot, and you can't deliver bad news in such a way. But when you're very direct, you can find that you can say things easier. We actually have a sign. I'm going to show it to you guys. It's here in our office. Let me get it. Build trust through transparency. Is that backwards? Probably is.
Get right.
So build your trust through transparency. Be transparent in everything that you do, in all of your conversations, and it'll build success. So just say, if you don't say it, the agent that comes behind you to take over the transaction when you couldn't get it done will say it. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't want to ever see anyone at KWLE lose a listing, right? So, yeah. All right. Final questions or final thoughts?
No, I appreciate the help today. It was nice getting to meet you.
Yeah, nice meeting you guys. Let me put my email address in the chat. If I can ever do anything for you, if you ever want a script, you know, at KWLE, we believe, and Keller Williams anyway, but at KWLE, we believe in sharing information of what works. It makes us all better. That way we all start to learn from each other. So I will say, if any of you guys have an aha, share it. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to learn from you. Look, I learned today that we do 950 websites. I wrote that down, Amy. That's fabulous.
Woo-hoo.
So, yeah. So, exactly. Somebody, I don't know who it was. Somebody said a rising tide lifts all the boats. Agreed. So we love to share information about what we're doing and how we're building our businesses. So as you guys find success, we're just going to ask you to share back. Mm-hmm. And some of you are already finding success. So, okay.
Is that PowerPoint that was on today, is that going to be part of the materials we're going to have access to?
If you would like a copy of that, email me. My email's in the chat. Okay. It's just Denise at WSG Homes, and I'll send it to you if you'd like a copy of it. Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. I think most of that's pretty relevant. That was done in July or August, so it's pretty relevant still as far as market stats. It hasn't changed a whole lot. So awesome. Well, share your successes. If you ever need a script, let us know. But hopefully you guys will go call your databases, because there's plenty of business everywhere. You just got to go find it. And no one's allowed to say anymore listings are hard to find. They're not. They're abundant and they're everywhere.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Denise, thank you so much. We appreciate you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate you guys. And listen, last thing, invitation. We sit over behind Barnes and Nobles and Brick House on Hurstbourne. We're right around the corner. If anybody ever wants to stop by, we do dance every day at 9:30. So you're welcome to come dance with us. Because normally if I'm teaching, that's how we start the class. We teach everybody our dance and have them dance with us. So yeah, cool.
All
Amy,
right.
thank you for staying on and helping with the PowerPoint. I appreciate that so much.
Anytime.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. You all have a wonderful day.
Bye, guys. Everybody have a good day.